Fiona, episode 9. Today is an Asian recipe, and there's absolutely no way I can speak Chinese or anything of that nature. But today we're going to be cooking ginger garlic pork. And it's a really easy recipe, and it's going to be delicious. So we're going to heat up our skillet. We use a skillet, and I've cut, I have actually cut up 2.5 pounds of pork, of which I've have put salt and pepper on them. So we're going to heat up that pan, and in that pan we're going to put a tablespoon of corn oil, and then we're going to put that's about a tablespoon, and then we're going to put a teaspoon of sesame oil. So that's about a half a teaspoon, I would say. So we're going to cook up that, and we're going to cook that pork through, and that's obviously very important. So we'll get that going. So while that's cooking, we're going to be making the sauce, and the sauce is really part of the whole yummy ingredient. It's the taste, it's the flavors that we're looking for when we cook. So we put about 1/4 cup of honey in a saucepan, and then we put 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, which I've measured here. Now we're going to put a teaspoon of sriracha, and obviously this is something that will make it nice and hot. So that's good. We like hot. Some people do. If you don't like it that hot, don't put so much in. And then we put a tablespoon of rice wine vinegar. There we go. And then we put 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. 1, 2, 3. Okay, then we turn the fire on and we cook this very, very slowly. Very slowly, very, very slowly, and stirring all the time. So basically what we're going to do after this cooks for about 8 minutes, we're going to thicken it with cornstarch. So
a few minutes later,
once we thicken this sauce and we put the cooked pork that's seasoned with the various ginger and garlic over the jasmine rice that has been cooked, and I'll bring that platter out as we go along. So I'm going to get a tablespoon of cornstarch and start to thicken this. It doesn't matter what brand of cornstarch, just cornstarch. So I'm keeping stirring this because I got to keep stirring this before, and it will thicken. It will thicken.
A few minutes later,
Just slide this over and let it cool a little bit. So once that's cooled a little bit, then we're going to put in our ginger, grated ginger, 2 tablespoons of freshly grated ginger, and then 4 cloves of garlic. Stir that in. Let the flavors blend. This is what it's all about, letting the flavors blend through the pork. This is what I'm doing now. I'm sorry you can't smell it over the video, but I gotta tell you, this does smell delicious. It really does. It's the flavors. It's all about flavoring your meat. Okay, so here we go. So now the pork is blended with all the flavors, and I'm going to put it on top of the jasmine rice. This is all on top of the rice. Once the pork is on top of the rice, then you get this lovely thickened sauce and you pour it all over. There we go. And then the piece de la resistance is to sprinkle it with spring onions. And then sprinkle it with sesame seeds. Now there's something about sesame seeds that add to flavor, just like onions, and so on. So this is it. Finito. So as you know, I'm a Hatfield. So I have a Chinese hat in our house, in the Hatfield house, and this is it. As you know, I love to cook. You see, I've made this delicious ginger garlic pork. But my other love is real estate. So today I'm going to talk about preparing your listing, preparing your house to close, and these are some of the pitfalls. So have your property staked prior to listing your property for sale, because there's possible encroachments that could happen and pop up. So a lot of people aren't aware that encroachments happen, so it's better to have your property staked. An encroachment is, let's say that someone's built a wall on your property, they don't know that it's not their property, but it is your property, so therefore that is called an encroachment. I've had dog cages on the property, and they had to remove their dog cage away from the property and put it within their property. So that's an encroachment. So another pitfall is have a structural survey done, which a vendor could give to the buyer to confirm that all is in order, like your electrics and your plumbing and your roof. Another pitfall would be rent control. If you have an apartment that is has an ARV of 22,800 or less, the rent commissioner controls the rent. And they actually come and they assess the property and they determine what rent it should be. So therefore, if you have been overcharging your tenants for a number of years, you will be prepared to pay them back for the difference between the registered rent and what you've been charging them. So those are the pitfalls. Please call me, Fiona Hatfield, 534-9932, or text me on that number. My email is fhatfield@brcl. Now, should you want any of these recipes, as I said in the previous episode, I do have a few left, calendars, and they're free. I don't charge for my recipe calendars. Look forward to hearing from you. Let me know if I can be of any help in your preparing your house to sell it or helping you to purchase a house.
Please call Fiona Hatfield on 534-9932 or email at fhatfield@brcl.bm.